The movie opens with a young man, Gajo, lying unconscious in a wrecked car at the bottom of a cliff. Shing, a native village girl, observes the car from a distance. Moments later, Gajo regains consciousness and exits the car, stumbling across stony terrain. He barely walks a few meters from the crash site when Shing approaches and knocks him out with a stone. The scene shifts to 8 hours before the ghastly car accident. Gajo, a gem hunter, stands on a sidewalk with Shing, his dealer, and Qin, his technician. There, Gajo spots two suspicious men in a car closely watching him and immediately realizes they are hired thugs. Gajo bids Shing and Qin goodnight before entering his car and driving off. As he anticipated, the men start their engine and tail him closely. Gajo accelerates, prompting a fierce car chase that leads to the accident. Back in the present, Gajo wakes to find himself in a primitive yet strange village. Here, women are the dominant gender, they hunt and provide for their families, while men perform chores and care for the children. Fathers are homemakers and cooks, while mothers serve as guards and soldiers, protecting their husbands. The village is a secluded area, completely cut off from the outside world, with no technology or knowledge of scientific products. Gajo also learns that Shing is the queen of the tribe and is astonished. Initially, Gajo disbelieves her, assuming the villagers are just nerdy cosplayers with great costumes and a perfect setup. He curses at Shing and the other women, which annoys the tribe leader. Shing, pissed at his attitude, confines Gajo in a wooden cage as punishment. Later, Gajo realizes they are indeed real people and decides to return to the city as soon as possible. However, Yun He, the tribe's astrologer, tells Gajo he can't leave the village without Shing's permission. After a few hours, Gajo begs Shing to release him from the cage and take him to his car. Shing, though skeptical, decides to have mercy and obliges. The two head back to the crash site as Gajo searches his car for useful supplies. Gajo finds a metal bat in the trunk and playfully swings it, accidentally hitting Shing on the head and causing her to pass out. Gajo seizes the golden opportunity to escape, grabs a backpack, and runs into the nearby woods. A few minutes later, the car's fuel tank begins leaking, and soon, Shing is surrounded by a ring of blazing flames. The villagers spot the fire and quickly rush to the scene, pouring buckets of water to extinguish it. Gajo hears the villagers screaming from the woods and feels guilty for leaving Shing behind. He rushes to the scene, pours a bucket of water on himself, enters the fiery ring, and carries Shing out. Just as they leave the site, the car explodes, and the duo lands in a nearby pond, much to the villagers' relief. In the following scene, Gajo is back in the village and finds his phone in his backpack. He plays a song, which attracts Shing's attention, and she rushes into the room. Shing fears the strange device and tries to smash it, but Gajo assures her it is harmless. He offers her his earphones, and the duo listens to music together as Shing falls asleep moments later. Gajo lays a sleeping Shing in bed, then frantically searches the room, hoping to find a map leading him back to the city. In the room, Gajo ecstatically finds a sapphire gemstone and decides to ask Shing about it when she wakes up. The next morning, Shing tells him the sapphire was a gift from her dead mother. A greedy Gajo offers her several items, a bowl of instant noodles, a novel, and even his phone, in exchange for the stone. However, Shing refuses to part with the gem, explaining it's her most prized possession. Gajo is disappointed but resolves to steal the gem instead. Later that day, Shing asks Gajo to meet her in an open field at night so they can watch the stars together. Gajo accepts the offer as Shing sheepishly smiles and leaves his shed. That night, the duo lies on the grass and stares at the starry sky. Suddenly, Shing pounces on Gajo and tries to remove his clothes, much to his surprise. He throws her off, and the two get into a heated argument. Gajo is shocked to discover that in the village, to watch the stars means to have sex. Hence, why Shing pounced on him. Suddenly, Gajo sprints to the village to escape, with Shing in hot pursuit. Shing is angry at Gajo and imprisons him when they return to the village. Gajo explains to Shing that he didn't know the phrase's hidden meaning and took it at face value. He also states that where he comes from, people express their feelings romantically, like confessing their love when it snows. Shing finally understands Gajo but still has him spend the night in the cell while she returns to her shed. Back in the city, Shing and Qin earnestly search for Gajo to no avail. They check the road where his car swerved down the cliff but are disappointed to find nothing. Qin uses a drone to search the area, but a magnetic field disrupts the aircraft and causes Qin's monitor to go blank. When the duo returns home, they meet Lian, a businesswoman with whom Gajo signed a contract. The contract mandates Gajo to meet with Lian every 15 days, and failure to do so incurs a 60 million fine. So far, it's been 13 days since his disappearance, and Lian has come to find him. Xian'er lies that Gajo took a trip to the mountains and would be back soon. Lian is unconvinced but gives the duo 48 hours to find Gajo before she takes action. Back in the village, Xing takes Gajo to the woods. Xing confesses her love for him and asks him to marry her as she dumps a bucket of chicken blood on him. Apparently, Xing misheard him last night and thought he said blood instead of snow, as both words sound similar in Chinese. Gajo is pissed at her and walks away in frustration but is caught in a trap shortly after. Gajo desperately begs Xing to free him from the trap. However, Xing asks him to accept her wedding proposal before she does this, and a defeated Gajo ultimately agrees. On their way back, Gajo finds one of the blades of Qin's drone lying in the bushes. Seeing this, he realizes his friends are looking for him and decides to escape from the village as soon as possible. That night, Gajo and Xing converse and decide to get married the next day. Gajo asks Xing about the village's terrain and learns there's a secret cave in the forest. He figures the cave is an exit from the village and plots to use it to escape. Gajo also learns that the village has a wine reserve and begs Xing to take him to it. She obliges, and the duo heads to the village's central pantry. Without her knowledge, Gajo drops some sleeping pills into the wine barrel as a ploy to knock all the villagers out during their wedding. Later, the couple returns to Gajo's room, and Xing offers him her sapphire stone as an early wedding gift. Gajo feels guilty but collects the gem anyway. The following night, the couple has their wedding ceremony and observes the tribe's unique rites as Xing goes down on one knee and confesses her love for Gajo. Gajo accepts her as his wife. Afterward, the villagers sing and play a love song as the newlyweds dance in unison. To end the feast, Gajo proposes a toast and urges the villagers to drink their respective bowls of wine. The unsuspecting natives swallow the drugged drink, but Gajo tosses his away when no one is watching. A few hours later, the villagers fall asleep while Gajo packs a bag and leaves the village. He goes through the woods and eventually reaches the cave, which connects to the outside world. Determined, Gajo enters the dark cave and begins his journey to the city. The next morning, he finally reaches the end of the cave and races to the top of a mountain, smiling as he sees a nearby road. Back at Gajo's house, Lian arrives with her men as the 48-hour deadline is almost over. Lian asks Xian'er and Qin about Gajo's whereabouts, but the duo reveals they have no idea where he is. Hearing this, Lian offers Xian'er a contract that would transfer ownership of the house to her. Xian'er refuses to sign the paperwork, but Lian gives her no choice. The businesswoman signals her men to hold the duo hostage, as Xian'er is forced to sign the paper with a thumbprint. Fortunately, Gajo barges through the front door right in time to stop them. Qin takes advantage of the distraction and swallows the signed contract while Gajo speaks to Lian. Ultimately, the businesswoman leaves the house and promises to keep in touch. When she leaves, Gajo freshens up and shares a meal with his friends, who ask where he's been the entire time. Gajo wants to protect the villagers from the outside world, so he tactfully avoids their questions and lies to his friends. After their meal, Gajo shows them the sapphire gem he got from Xing. The duo marvels at the stone in disbelief as they haven't seen a sapphire of that size in years. Finally, Gajo hands the gem to Xian'er alongside a soil sample from the village for testing. Later that day, the trio visits Gajo's uncle, Wen, at a nursing home and puts on clown costumes to entertain the elderly occupants. In the following scene, the villagers wake up and frantically search the area for Gajo. Xing is heartbroken by his disappearance and soon after, realizes he escaped along with the gem. Overcome with sadness, she decides to go to the city to search for him. The village's astrologer, Yun He, initially disapproves of her heading to the city. However, when Xing begs her, Yun He takes Xing to the cave's entrance and warns her to be careful of the city people before the queen departs. When Xing arrives at the city, she runs into Yi Tian, a famous astrology social media influencer who is searching for a female co-host. Xing's strange attire and quirky behavior pique his interest, and he offers to sign her to his company. Yi asks for her manager, but a confused Xing merely hands him a card that Gajo left behind in the village. Yi finds a number on it and traces Gajo to a nearby nursing home. At Xing's request, Yi drives her to the revealed location to look for Gajo. When they arrive at the nursery, Gajo spots Xing from a distance and runs before she sees him. He hides behind some bushes and observes Xing as she searches for him. Xing eventually gives up and walks towards the home's exit but immediately turns around when she hears Gajo sneeze from a nearby bush. Gajo pops out in his clown costume, but Xing doesn't recognize him and merely watches as he jumps away. Moments later, Xing joins Yi in the car, and the duo drives away from the home. While conversing, Yi tells an ignorant Xing that clowns aren't real creatures but are mere humans wearing masks. Xing is astonished by the revelation and figures that the strange clown she saw at the home was indeed Gajo. She begs Yi to return her to the nursery, and the media influencer obliges. Sadly, when they reach the nursery, Gajo and his friends are long gone, and Xing is left disappointed once again. Yi volunteers to take Xing to his house, but the tribe leader refuses and sits on a pavement in front of the nursery, declaring that she'd wait for Gajo to return. Yi desperately tries to get her to leave, but she refuses and even remains seated under the pouring rain. Meanwhile, Gajo feels guilty for hiding from Xing and gets Qin to find her location. A few minutes later, Qin informs him that Xing, together with Yi, is still at the nursing home. Gajo thanks Qin for his help and immediately drives back to the nursery. There, Gajo spots Xing sitting in the rain with Yi beside her. He pulls up in front of the duo and winds down his window. Xing is shocked to see him and immediately grabs him by his shirt. Gajo frantically begs her not to punch him and comes up with an absurd lie, stating that it is wrong to hit people in the rain. Xing is naive, so she believes him and enters his car as he drives her back to his house. Immediately upon their arrival, Xing points her crossbow at him, but Gajo manages to calm her and put the weapon down. Xing asks Gajo to return her sapphire. However, the cunning gem hunter distracts her by offering a cake. Xing tries the sugary treat and forgets about the stone as she viciously munches on it, savoring its foreign taste. When she's done with her meal, Xing spends the rest of the day exploring the house as she adapts to the new environment. She shoots an arrow at the television set, thinking it to be a monster, but Gajo explains that it is simply a gadget that can't hurt her. Xing is fascinated by the modern world and celebrates as she swings a punctured feather pillow, making a mess of the house. The following day, Xian'er visits Gajo and is shocked to find the living room in a mess. Shortly after, Xing approaches her while eating a bowl of instant noodles. Xian'er snatches the dish from Xing and demands to know who she is and her relationship with Gajo. Xing is pissed off by Xian'er's attitude and grabs her by the face as the dealer screams in fear. Gajo is woken up by the scream and rushes downstairs to find what happened. He finds Xian'er wrapped in a blanket with a cloth over her mouth. Gajo quickly frees her and is horrified to learn that Xing is responsible. Xian'er is furious and asks him who the strange-looking girl is. Immediately, Gajo grabs Xian'er and takes her to his room upstairs. There, he comes clean and reveals what happened when he went missing. Gajo explains that Xing is the queen of a secluded matriarchal village where women rule and men are submissive. Xian'er initially disbelieves him but realizes he's telling the truth when Gajo shows her Xing's native crossbow. In the living room, Xing hears a knock on the window and is shocked to find Yi outside the house. She rushes to the door and tries to open it but can't figure out how. With Yi's direction, Xing finds the door's handle but uses brute force to turn it, thus breaking it. Eventually, she gives up trying to open the door and breaks it entirely. Gajo and Xian'er hear the sound of the crashing door and rush downstairs to find what happened. Gajo is livid to find Yi in his home and drags him out, before locking his gate. However, Yi refuses to leave and reveals that he knows Xing is from a secluded island. Gajo is shocked to hear this and threatens Yi to stay away from her, as he heads back to the house with Xing. The following day, Gajo takes Xing to a fashion store to get some new clothes. Xing tries on some outfits while Gajo steps out to give her some privacy. Outside, Gajo is astonished to see Lian approaching from a distance, and is scared to have her discover Xing. Hence, he immediately hides behind a wall and closely watches as the stern woman enters the store. What did you think of that movie? Like and subscribe to support the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for watching and see you next for more fun recaps.